All right, I'm so excited to be here today with Linda Sparrowe, someone I have long admired. I'm going to take a moment to introduce her, and then we're going to talk to Linda about her home practice. So, Linda, in my opinion, and I didn't share this with you, Linda, before we started, but I will say you are, in my opinion, one of the greatest behind-the-scenes person in the yoga world. You're behind a number of wonderful books, of which I, of course, have all. You have the women's series that you wrote, as well as the women's book of Yoga and Health with Patricia Walden, who is someone I totally adore. And then, of course, because I'm so strong I can do this, the coffee table book. Yes, the tome. My son loves to go through this. He is 9, and he sees what he can do. It's very cute. And I'm also honored because she wrote a testimonial in my very own book. So I have been admiring Linda's work for a very long time. She also was the managing editor of Yoga Journal and the editorial director of Yoga International. So as I said, the behind the scenes doing lots of wonderful things. We are here today to talk about Linda's home practice. So if you will, Linda, would you share with me why do you practice yoga?
You know, I'm a writer, and I have to say, really and truly, I practice to wake up. And that's both in a very physical, literal sense of getting on my mat, waking up my body, kind of taking the cobwebs out of my brain, and also bringing my mind into my body. I really need to feel my feet on the floor. I need to feel just the visceral connection to my body. And so I do that every day. And I also do that to remind myself to kind of wake up to my true nature, to remind myself that I really, truly am where I need to be right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. How long have you been practicing?
I've been practicing pretty much, I think, forever. I started kind of sporadically in the early 70s because I was in this space in my life where I just wanted to be enlightened, and I was really into the whole spiritual development, and I have my graduate work in the Vedas and in Sanskrit and whatever, so I was way into my heart and my head, and finally this teacher said to me, "What are you doing? You need to be in your body. Here, take this book and do yoga." And so he gave me this book of asanas by Maharshi from Transcendental Meditation, and it's this little green book of like 15 asanas, and he goes, just practice, just do something with that body. So I did, and then I bought Light on Yoga, and I put it on my desk, and I tried to do the poses that Mr. Iyengar did. And I did that for a couple years before I found a teacher. And so that kind of started my practice, and then I took a little hiatus. I did, dance, I did whatever. And then in the 90s, I really started in earnest when I went to Yoga Journal. So
we started about the same time then, in earnest.
Oh, that's nice. I like that. Yeah.
I love it. So what is your current yoga practice like?
It's really different now, I think, than it was certainly when I was younger. First of all, I start in the afternoon. I would fail Ashtanga yoga big time. I don't like practicing in the morning. I just don't, And I think the older I get, the more I resonate with what Iyengar says, and that is that we need our relationship with gravity, and we need a sense of direction in order to practice yoga. So I start my practice every afternoon at 4 o'clock by grounding myself. Where are my sitting bones on the ground? Or if I'm standing, where are my feet? And then I move in a sense of direction, because I really feel that I can't really know where I'm going unless I know where I am. And so the older I get, the more I really want to listen to what I need. And I follow that. So sometimes my practice might be 15 minutes. Other times it might be a juicy 60 minutes. Sometimes it can be really quiet. And sometimes I just need to kick it up, and get the cobwebs out and really, really remind myself that I'm strong and capable.
How has it changed over the years? You said that as you get older, you feel like you're listening to your body more. Can you reflect on what it used to be like?
Yeah, I think when I first started asana, I kind of divorced it from my meditation practice for sure. I just wanted to be like everyone else on the mats around me. they were doing something, and I was thinking, I wonder if my body can do that. And so it was so much external for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew that and at the end, I would feel that sense of connection in Shavasana or some of the calmer poses, but that wasn't what it was about for me. I wanted to be strong. I wanted to be more flexible. I wanted to be able to do arm balances. And now it's much more about self-reflection. Now I want to listen. And I want to listen more deeply, and I want to honor my body in a way that I wasn't really up for, 20 years ago. I was much more about denying my body. I'm not very good at nourishing myself, especially then, and so my practice is that for me, and I like that.
So you've learned how to nourish yourself through your practice.
I have, through my practice, yeah.
Oh, that's
beautiful. And I have this lovely, tiny little studio in my home, which is warm. I have a little tiny little altar there, and it's just my solace. Even if I go in there and sit on my mat for 5 minutes, get up and go do something else, it gives me that separation that I need in my life.
Uh-huh.
And, it's really sweet.
That's beautiful. Do you have any challenges that come up with your practice, like getting to your mat, or?
I do. I think, first of all, getting me away from my desk is really a big challenge. Mm-hmm. Getting me to actually get into what I'm supposed to be doing. That's a huge challenge for me because when I'm on deadline, I don't know, I think I just waste a lot of time. So what happens is when I'm on deadline, I'm wasting time, I'm doing whatever, and then all of a sudden I think, oh my gosh, I didn't get what I was supposed to be getting done, so I won't practice today, I'll just keep going. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, I beat myself up for not doing what I was supposed to be doing. So my challenges are getting there in the first place. And then second place, I have a lot more sort of physical challenges than I did 20 years ago. I'm a lot stiffer, and so what happens to me is I get on the mat, and my challenge is to stay there, to stay put. Because what happens is I get there, I go, yeah, and then I think, this hurts. Or, you know what, I just really don't have that much time right now. I'm good. 15 minutes, I'm good. And so I get up and I leave. And so when that happens to me, what I do is I put on a DVD and I allow someone to lead me through practice. Because I can't seem to do it on my own.
It is so refreshing to hear someone else do the same thing. I'm sure there are many others out there. I confess to the DVD thing. It's like that gets me doing my practice.
Yeah, and it challenges me. I mean, sometimes I do what's easy.
Yeah. And
I do the same practice over and over again, and then I'll listen to, or I'll put on a DVD, or of Jason Crandall, or somebody who's completely different than my normal practice, and I think, wow, this is really nice. He led me through from beginning to end what I would not have done for myself. It's nice, It's like
shakes it up a little.
Someone taking you by the hand and saying, "Let's do that together."
Yeah. And it's nice not to have to think sometimes. Really, you to just be on your mat and let your body do its thing.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with, like, sometimes I like to start actually really gently. So I might start in Baddha Konasana and just kind of, just with the soles of my feet together and just feel what that feels like, and maybe stretch out my legs and just kind of start playing with shapes. Like, where does my body want to go? What's next? What does this shape feel like? And it becomes doing a practice from my heart more than my head. Mm-hmm. And so I think about, like, moving from the exhale. What would that feel like today? To just move from the inside out instead of being really connected to my muscles and my bones and my joints. How is that different from doing this kind of practice? So it's just self-exploration. I'm much more interested right now in self-awareness and self-exploration than I used to be. And there's where the juice is for me. And that even includes not liking myself for not showing up. Like
yeah.
My mantra has become, isn't that interesting? So that keeps me away from judgments. They're like, isn't that interesting that suddenly I have all these judgments, or suddenly I'm looking around and not really paying attention? What is that about?
It's
so
discovery.
It's self-exploration much more.
Totally.
Than
It's beautiful.
Yeah. I have a little bit more patience, I think, than I used to.
Good for you.
Maybe.
Well, then let me ask, is there a piece of advice you would give to somebody struggling with a home practice, or not knowing that they could have a home practice, or just starting with a home practice?
This man one time told this story. He's a VP of Google, really high up in Google, and he said that he committed to 2 minutes a day of practice. And that has really changed the way that I think about asana, because you always have 2 minutes. And those 2 minutes can sometimes stretch out to 20 minutes, 60 minutes, or they could just be 2 minutes. And 2 minutes, you can do a few sun salutes. You can do pranayama for 2 minutes. You can do your practice washing the dishes. I mean, you have 2 minutes no matter what you're doing, and no matter how busy you keep telling yourself. And so with that understanding, that would open you up to be able to start a home practice. And I will say, don't bite off more than you can chew, in the sense that don't set yourself up for failure. Don't say to yourself, I'm going to practice for 60 minutes every single day.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And Patricia Walden once said, pick an asana, pick a posture that is really hard for you. Commit to practicing it for 5 minutes a day, or whatever you decide you could do. And just commit to that. It's not that I'm going to do this for 60 minutes every single morning. Commit to 5 minutes and practice something that gets your willpower going, gets your strength going, and do that. And then go about your day. And again, if you're really struggling to know, what the hell am I supposed to do? Then bring your teacher to you. Find a DVD or go on one of these My Yoga Online things, and there are practices there, and Yoga International has it too, Yoga Glow. There are practices there that span anywhere from 10 minutes to 90. So pick what you have, pick what you want. You could be restorative. You could say, my practice today is going to be 15 minutes of putting my feet up the wall and just being. Mm-hmm. Or my practice today is going to be breathing in and out consciously for 5 minutes.
It's beautiful, isn't it? All of it's yoga. It's all yoga. It all counts.
Yoga. And if you can breathe, you can do yoga.
Absolutely.
Right?
Oh,
yeah.
Thank you for your wisdom. I so appreciate it. So
much fun.
Let us know, what is your next project? I know you're doing something, because didn't you just leave Yoga International?
I did. Yoga International sadly has ceased publication.
Yes.
So I know. So they are going online. They're doing some online stuff, and I'm a print girl. So I'm writing another book for Shambhala Publications, and I'm pretty excited about that. I'm doing a book actually for women who have a pretty strong practice already, and it's for pre and postnatal. And the good thing about this book is I get to really bring philosophy into what I'm writing. So it's sequence, it's philosophy, it's deeper teachings, it's all that good stuff. And also I'm beginning to teach a lot more workshops on how to find your voice, both as a yoga teacher and, as a practitioner. So it's a lot of like how to bring the teachings of yoga into your writing practice, really. So having fun with that.
It's beautiful. And they can find out more information by going to lindasparrowe.com. Everything is there?
They can. Absolutely.
Well, I'm so excited to see that next book. I think it'll be wonderful to have yet another book on my shelf by you.
Oh, so much fun. And well, it's such an honor for me to be able to talk to you and spend some time.
Thank you so much for spending time with me.
You're welcome.